Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be solving a simple challenge from TryHackMe called ANONFORCE. Let's switch back to my virtual machine right here and go full screen mode. So first let's take a look at the website, and right here it says that it's a boot to root machine and that it used to be a CTF of some sorts, and we don't have any information right here except for that we have to get the user.txt and root.txt and we have to figure it out ourselves. So let's go deploy, and in the meantime let's just connect to the VPN. Now let's do sudo openvpn, try hack my VPN, and there we go. Now that we are connected, it will say initialization sequence completed. We can minimize this because we don't need this anymore, and we can open another instance of terminal. Now we can do sudo nmap, and then the IP that we're going to have, we can open a couple of new tabs and do sudo gobuster dir URL, and then victim's IP right here, and then we can do word list, and we can provide a word list here, and let's take a look where it is. And the word list we want is in derp, and we're going to use common.txt, this one right here, because we don't need anything advanced for now. So let's just copy this one and paste it right here and say common.txt. Alright, so now we're ready to put the IP here and here. We can actually copy this IP, and I'm going to open the text editor right here because we're going to need to write some notes. And let's do an nmap scan on the victim's IP. So copy the IP, just paste it right there until we take a look. We're going to put the gobuster to work as well and press enter. It says that connection is refused. That means we don't have HTTP running, and that seems to be true. So let's just run on these ports that we just scanned. The SV scan, which will scan for versions. You can also add T4 and stuff like that. Now let's just copy this right here and paste it right there because we're going to need that later. Alright, we can also run the script vuln to check for vulnerabilities with nmap. While this is scanning, we can actually try to anonymously log into FTP because I think VSFTPD actually has that. And if we take a look right here, we got some sort of a script execution error. We can actually go ports and try A and T4 as well. And if we take a look right here on the A scan, we actually have an anonymous login allowed. It seems to put us in the / directory. And if we take a look right here, we have the not read. So that seems interesting, and we also have the home and stuff like that, so we're going to look into that later. Let's see what else we got. Nothing special right here. So one thing we can do is we can enum for Linux if we want to get more information about the system, but I don't think it's useful in this case, but you know, why not? So let's paste it right there, and let's leave it running just to have it there. In the meantime, we're going to do sudo FTP into that, and we're going to enter the name, in our case anonymous, and the password anonymous as well. So if I ls right here, we can actually see the same thing that we saw out there in the scan. And if I actually enter the not read, okay, successfully changed, that means we can actually get here. So we have two files right here. We have the PGP file, which I'm guessing that it's an encrypted file, and we have the ASC private key. It says private, so I'm guessing it's a private key. So let's get backup PGP, and that means we download it. Let's get private.asc. Let's go back to this directory of work and home, and let's ls, and let's see the melodias. Alright, so we have melodias as a user. Let's ls, and then we have the user.txt right here. So let's get user.txt. This is the first flag that we actually need, so let's just exit. And now we can actually see what we downloaded. If I cat into user.txt, we're actually going to see the flag. So let's copy this, and let's go back to our browser. Now let's paste it right here. That's our first flag. There we go, our answer is correct. All right, let's continue. And anyways, let's take a look. What do we have here? So we have the private.asc. Let's check if it is a good private key, and it seems to be. Now if I do sudo SSH and use that private key, that's not going to work, but I can actually demonstrate here that it's not going to work. Let's do chmod to the key. It's still not going to work. If we do the same thing, and there we go, still needs a password. Right, so that's not it. So we can try something else. We can actually try to crack this key somehow. So usually to crack keys like that, we need to convert them to a crackable format. So sudo gpg gjon and private.asc. But in order to do it correctly, we're just going to point that to our text file. Let's call it the tocrack.txt. And now we have the tocrack.txt. And now we can do sudo gjon 2crack.txt, and we can just leave it running and stuff like that. It will eventually crack, but we can also use a specific word list. But I'm just going to leave it running like this because I know that the password isn't too long because I already tried to do this. And as you can see, we have the password right here. It's Xbox 360 for this ANONFORCE right here. In our case, this is going to help us decrypt the backup.pgp. Now let's write this down as password because we might need this later. And one thing we want to do right now is once we have the password cracked, we can actually try to decrypt this file. But first we need to import the key file, so this private.asc, into our system in order to be able to use the password to decrypt the file. This isn't really hard, it just sounds hard. So we're going to do this simply by sudo gpg import and then the name of the file, and that's basically it. So once we import it, it's going to ask us for the password, but we already have the password right here. It's Xbox 360. All right, and let's press enter, and there we go. Now that this key has been imported, we can actually decrypt the file. So how to do this? Sudo gpg decrypt, and then the name of the file, backup.pgp, and this should decrypt the file. Press enter, and it's going to ask us for the password again. And now we have this. Now we could crack this user or something, but as I can see right here, the root user has its password hash right here. So we're going to use that to get the root. So let's make a new file. Actually, we can just change the old file, sudo nano 2crack, and we can actually just put this right here, and that's the root one, and we can actually delete this one. All right, so we can save this, and we can use hashcat on this because hashcat is pretty fast. So, but we need to know what the hash type is here. So in order to find that out, we can actually go hashcat, and we can actually type into Google crack Linux pass wd hash. Now let's take a look. We should have added with hashcat, but you know, let's see. Okay, so we have some examples right here. The MD5, Blowfish, SHA-256. I think ours was SHA-256. Let's cat into 2crack, and it seems to be number 6, so it's SHA-512 algorithm. So if you take a look right here, example hashes for hashcat. If we write Unix right here, we're going to find all the hashes for Unix systems. And if I take a look at right here, 1800 is SHA-512, and that does look like our hash. So this is the one that we want to use, 1800. So we're going to use hashcat m and 1800. So this specifies the type of hash that we're going to use. And now we want to specify the file that we want to crack. And in our case, it's 2crack.txt. And we're going to use force just to ignore some warnings. And we're going to use word list. And now we need the rocky.txt, so let's do word lists. And we have my rocky.txt right here. If you don't have it, you can use a gzip to unzip this, but I have already done this, so we can just do pwd and copy that and just put it right there, rocky.txt. Now let's press enter, and once we do that, it's going to crack the password. And I'm gonna wait up here because it shouldn't take a while. And once it's done, we can actually log into this account. Alright, if I press S right here, it will tell me the status of the cracking, and right here it's gonna say cracked. Now we need to be careful when taking a look at what is cracked right here, because this is not our solution. This is just the last pass. This is our cracked hash. So the hash and then the password. In our case, it's Hikari, and we can actually see what for Linux does. It did nothing, so okay, I guessed that. So anyways, let's try to SSH into the victim. So SSH root at victim's IP, and the password is going to be Hikari, and we're going to say yes, and yeah, we got root. There we go. So let's ls right here, we have root.txt. Let's cat into it, root.txt, and there we have it. That's our flag. All right, so now let's submit the flag, submit, and there we go. We have solved this room. All right, so that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day.